Well, it's time for another one of these Let's Plays again. I'm Ephraim225, and this is my Let's Play of Mega Man Legends 1 for the PlayStation. Now, Mega Man Legends is a series I got into as a child. I actually had the sequel, Mega Man Legends 2, before I had Mega Man Legends 1, and even then, it was at first the N64 port of Mega Man Legends 1. So yeah, it took a while before I could get the definitive experience of Mega Man Legends, in my opinion. Now, Mega Man Legends is a pretty groundbreaking series. The first game released very close to the launch of the Sony PlayStation. If you look at the history of PlayStation in general, it's very easy to construe Mega Man Legends as a game that Capcom had to make just so that they could have a 3D Mega Man game, because Sony really wanted a lot of 3D games. They weren't interested in all that 2D stuff, so Capcom more or less had to make something in 3D if they wanted to make all of those 2D Mega Man games. But Mega Man Legends is not a token 3D game by any means. It's actually pretty good. Although, because it was made before the advent of DualShock, you have to move around with a control pad in a 3D environment. That isn't too much fun, but if you get used to the controls, it's a lot of fun to play, and I actually played it like 2 times recently to refresh my memory. Also, something tells me I should not be talking over the guy reading the intro rule, because he's actually way into it. Listen to this. Totally into it. Hope. Despair. Charity. Greed. Yeah, you get it. So the reason I got into playing this game again is that I actually found out a couple of weird tricks you can do through the speedrunning community for this game, and I actually tried applying them in a couple of different ways, so you'll be seeing what I mean fairly early into the game. But we're going to hang around on the title screen for a little bit, because I don't think a lot of people who play this game actually know this, but there is a second intro if you hang out on the title screen for a little while longer, which is actually really weird. You'd think they would put in some kind of attract mode, like it's an arcade game, just to have the gameplay be demonstrated. But no, they went with a second intro, which most people are not going to find out about, because it just says to press start right there. Okay, so here we go. Oh yeah, and the thing I'm doing for this Let's Play is, because the audio balancing in Mega Man Legends 1 is not that good, it would be very easy for my voice to drown out the acting, so I've decided to put my own subtitles in. I learned how to do that just for this Let's Play. This guy is the best voice actor, by the way, the highlight of Mega Man Legends. Story and characters are actually, really interesting in Mega Man Legends. It's a lot of fun to watch the cutscenes. It's actually Bone.
Let's do it!
Of course, the lip syncing could be improved, but that's generally what you get when a Japanese game gets dubbed in English. The lip sync, it just turns out terribly. Have you played Final Fantasy X? Yeah. So I thought about changing some of the options here, because they let you change the, when you're moving the camera, they let you change whether up and down or reversed. You know what? I've actually never understood why that is. I think it has something to do with airplanes, the reason they give you that option. So if you hang around on the title screen, the little robots there, they get into a bunch of weird antics on the title screen, which is fun to watch. But we've got a game to get to.
Mega Man, can you hear me?
Just barely. The transmission isn't too clear.
I got worried.
This is also one of those rare instances of seeing Mega Man without his helmet.
Okay.
And in cutscenes, he will actually take off his helmet even after you have one. Okay, so maybe I didn't need to subtitle that, but I did it anyways. Nice face, by the way. Walking down this very long corridor, there couldn't possibly be a trap here.
The reactor's still running.
Great. What about the refractor?
It's here. It's a big one too.
Oh, right. Now maybe...
That doesn't look that big, although it is bigger than the size of your head, so I guess it could be construed as big. By the way, spoiler alert, this refractor never gets used for anything in the game. It's just sitting there in your inventory and it does nothing. I guess they just use it to pay for their living expenses or something. Oh, it's a trap. Who would have thought? Very Indiana Jones. Minus the rolling boulder. Just think, if he were a second slower, the gates would have closed and locked him in. Probably shouldn't have stood there staring at the 3 giant eyeballs for so long.
There's something up on my screen. Looks like a Reaver bot. You'd better get out of there. Come on.
Right. If you see anything, let me know. Here we go!
Alright, gameplay. So, as I may or may not have said, in this game you move around with a control pad and you have to turn with L1 and R1. But you can switch the controls so that you turn with left and right, and you strafe with L1 and R1, but I've always left it as is.
You should be able to take it down with your buster gun.
Well, gee, I wonder where the enemy could be hiding. It's probably that thing in the wall right there. So, this, Mega Man, of course, has his trusty buster gun, but he actually doesn't have a charge shot in the Legends series. The only time this incarnation of Mega Man has had a charge shot... Oh, you can also kick, and this enemy type shoots out bombs, but you can actually kick the bombs back at them. That's a really neat detail, and I wish they used it a little more often. I'm going to try and kick this guy's bomb again. But I actually messed up, and the bomb exploded on me. It's not as practical as it could have been. Anyways, the only time this incarnation of Mega Man has ever had a charge shot is in the crossover fighting game Tatsunoko vs. Capcom. It was really shocking to everyone that they used this version of Mega Man in that game, instead of including one of the villains from this game who has appeared in Marvel vs. Capcom, but anyways. You're supposed to take the door to the right, but if you go down here, there's a little button that traps you in this room with a bunch of snake robots. Yeah, and I could kick them, but the kick obviously does very, very little damage, and I wish the kick were used more often, but it's really not. So I have no idea why that room is even there. There's absolutely nothing in there, no treasure chest or anything, so there's just no reason to go down there.
That should be the way out.
Yes, I see the door. Actually, maybe most players their first time down would not know it's a door, but still. So yeah, this is a very tutorial dungeon.
Watch out, there's something right in front of you.
There's something to my left and right. That's a more apt description, I think. We'll just shoot these guys up. So instead of a charge shot, when you hold down the square button to fire, the buster will actually shoot out 3 shots and then stop and then shoot 3 more and then stop, etc. This game has a lot of RPG elements, so we'll be getting equipment later on that will allow us to upgrade the buster. For now, it's pretty much just a pea shooter. So this large cube, when you destroy it, a bunch of crystals come out. These little crystals are money. Like everything mechanical in this world is powered by these little crystals called refractors, and we just got a pretty big one at the start of the dungeon. So that's why all the enemies drop those little crystals, is because that's what's powering them, presumably. That cube that I just destroyed, I'm actually not sure if it drops a random amount of money, but it does feel like it drops a random amount of money. There were like only 6 of those little crystals. So yeah, that barrier there, we'll have to find the switch for it. Now, it took a while for people to actually, like, enjoy playing this game fully, because it was very clunky when it came out. What you're seeing right now is how the lock-on mechanic works. You hold R2, and the game automatically moves Mega Man to aim at the nearest enemy, but you can't move while you're locked on. And the Buster does have a sort of auto-aim to it, so like it'll automatically shoot at whatever is nearest to you. So yeah, it was just clunky. In fact, not locking on is probably the way to go when you play this. So this switch controls the barrier, you just have to kick it. You can also shoot at it, but kicking it does it in one shot. And we just found some Zenny, which is the currency in this game, just like Resident Evil. Speaking of Resident Evil, in Japan, the Resident Evil Director's Cut actually came with a demo for this game, and in that demo, Mega Man's hair was lighter. Interesting trivia. So the second chest contained a power-up called the Power Razor, and equipping it will make the Buster do 1 point more damage. Which is nice. It doubles, it halves the amount of time it takes to kill this upcoming boss.
Mega Man, I'm showing a large blip in front of you. It's
Also, I turned the lock-on off, and the reason I did that is because, like, if you don't have lock-on on, then the game won't force Mega Man to look at the nearest enemy when you hold R2, which means you can aim manually. And that's useful in a couple of spots, but not a whole lot of them. But I just keep it off because, you know, I don't want to be forced to look at the nearest enemy when I'm holding R2. And I'm not going to hold R2 for this boss. So, this game is kind of infamous for this strategy right here. I'm literally holding 3 buttons: shoot, move, and turn. Circle strafing is really overpowered in this game. Well, at least most people think it is, but I actually think it's not the optimal strategy for some enemies in this game. But yeah, circle strafing, it gets you through a lot of stuff. This boss didn't really have any attacks besides smashing stuff with that giant hand of his. Well, it didn't explode, but it must be safe to exit. Oh, it's not dead. I guess that matters? How's it gonna fit through the door? It's too big to fit through the door, isn't it? Ah, the open sea. You know, whenever I read this game's plot, I can't help but think of the anime/manga One Piece. Like, after reading that intro, it's gotta remind you of it at least a little bit.
Well, that's a happy sight after being underground for so long. I wonder where Roll went.
Oh, you've gotta be kidding me. How did it fit through the door? That little passageway was too tiny for this thing. Well, it looks like we'll have to circle strafe around it some more. Oh, come on, Mega Man. This little platform that we're on, it's totally big enough for us to circle strafe around it. You just gotta be careful not to fall. Okay, fine. You want to be all dramatic about it. Cutscenes never, like, reenact how, I don't know, actually dramatic the gameplay was.
See ya.
Well, that's the end of Mega Man Legends. Thanks for watching this Let's Play. Next time we'll... Okay, it's not over. I'm sorry.
Roger.
I have no idea why the Reaverbot just looks so disappointed with itself, I guess? Or shocked, or amazed, or longing, or... Like, when the camera pans out, the Reaverbot just looks so lonely. Alone on that little tower. What is that little tower anyways? That's like the only dungeon that's been like out in the open of the ocean. All the other dungeons in this series are on little islands. Well, I guess there was that one location in Legends too, but I'm getting ahead of myself. So that ship, it's the second dumbest looking ship I've ever seen, to be honest. Oh well. All the ships look like fish, come to think of it. So this is the reimagined Roll. She's pretty nice looking. Now, Capcom loves to draw from old anime properties, and in this game, Roll has a striking resemblance to one of the characters from Yatterman. I'm pretty sure I botched the pronunciation, but you could check that out if you want. If only the mother load weren't the worst pun I've ever heard.
Parents too.
Thanks. I know we will.
Oh, the engine's overheating. The smoke's so thick I can barely see.
What? I guess the flutter's in worse shape than I thought.
Yes, that's the name. She named it the Flutter.
Going crazy. She can't take much more of this.
Gramps, can you open up the number?
Number 9's going crazy. Oh, get Mega Man 11 to save us.
Down. Mega Man, check the map.
Yeah, I had to make that joke, even though I'm pretty sure he said 5, not 9.
Check.
And I have no idea what she said there, so I didn't subtitle it. Certainly the dramatic intro, I must say.
I can't do much more by myself down here. Can somebody give me a hand?
Sorry, Gramps, but my hands are a little full right now.
Ooh, I
Well, Mega Man's not doing anything. Then again, I don't think he has time to get down there.
More. Hold on. I'm taking her down.
Right!
Ah! It's coming right towards the camera. Get the camera man out of the way. Well, that's one dead cameraman.